Good evening and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Also, please keep your mics muted during the session. I would now like to welcome Nandeep, our speaker for today's session. Nandeep is 3 times Microsoft MVP and MCT, a result-oriented person with experience in Microsoft technologies, especially with SharePoint, Azure, and .NET. But for now, I will hand over to Nandeep to begin the session. Over to you.
Thank you, Rashmita, for the introduction. Let me share my screen. Just confirm if you can see it. Right. I
Yes.
hope you can see it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So hi everyone. Welcome to this Reactor session, and I'm here to talk about building the modern employee experience with Microsoft Viva Connections. As all of us know that across the globe, millions have transitioned to the remote work over the past few years. Even many of us are returning back to the office. Hybrid work is here to stay. So all of the organizations are right now finding a way of how to make this new world of work more sustainable for for their employees. So in this session, we will explore how the employee experience platform from Microsoft, called as Microsoft Viva, address all those kind of challenges being faced by employees, leaders, managers, IT, and overall everyone. All right. So that is the topic for today's discussion. All right, so let me just keep going. So the agenda for this session is we will have overview of Microsoft Viva, what is mean by Microsoft Viva, what modules it does contain, and then we will go into the introduction of Microsoft Viva connection, one of the module from Microsoft Viva, and then we will see how we will be able to set up Microsoft Viva connections. So if in case if you are on a journey to set up Viva connections to enable the employee experience for your employees, or if you have not yet, in that case all those step by step process will help you to go ahead and then set up this experience for your employees. And then again, from the developer perspective, how we can also go ahead and extend this Viva connections with SharePoint framework. All right. So quickly about myself, myself Nandadeep Nasan. I'm from Pune, India. I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 apps and services, as well as Microsoft certified trainer. I mostly work for SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, Forms, Yammer, and most of the Microsoft 365 related areas. So here is my Twitter handler and LinkedIn handler. If in case you want to have any further discussion, please do have that. And then again, I'm author of 3 books, including Mastering SharePoint Framework, which is based on how you can go ahead and create the SharePoint Framework based solutions. Then SharePoint 2019 hybrid scenarios, and the one which is recently launched is with up and running on Microsoft Viva connections. All right. So firstly, let's have some introduction about Microsoft Viva. What is mean by Microsoft Viva? So Microsoft Viva brings together all the communications, knowledge, learning, resources, any kind of an insights into the integrated experience, which empowers our employees, peoples, and teams to do their best. And again, from anywhere. So be it they are at office or they are at the remote location, they will be able to use this kind of an functionalities. So it is mostly powered by the Microsoft 365 experience through Microsoft Teams. And again, we do have supporting systems like SharePoint, Yammer running in the background for this. So this Microsoft Viva is kind of an employee experience platform. We call it as a EXP, which is made up of 4 major modules that can be used individually, or even they can be combined to meet your organization need. So let us go through those modules quickly. So first one is Viva Connections, which is mainly responsible for bringing in the culture and communications across your organizations. So it is kind of a curated company branded experience which can bring relevant news, articles, conversations, and resources inside of your SharePoint or maybe inside of your organizations, very much closer to your employees. Then we do have got Viva Insights, which help us to improve any kind of an productivity, well-being through the data-driven, privacy-protected insights. And then it can also give us some kind of a recommendation to go ahead and contribute towards the well-being of the employees. And then we do have Viva Learning, which is which brings in the flavor of skilling and growth. So it brings employee learning into the flow of work by connecting the content from your organizations or all of the learning management systems, LMS, for example, LinkedIn or maybe Udemy or even from a SharePoint site or any kind of a third-party providers as well as from Microsoft Learn to make the learning as a part of your day-to-day life. And then we do have Viva Topics, which is more responsible for knowledge and expertise. So it applies some kind of an artificial intelligence to automatically organize your content and expertise across your system and teams into the related topics. For example, projects, products, or any kind of a processes that you are working out for. And then we have a few of the newly um, kind of an Viva experiences, including Viva Goals, Viva Sales, and Viva Engage. So Viva Goals is a goal setting and management solution which can help you to align your organization or team strategies priorities by driving the results. Then we do have Viva Sales, which is a seller kind of an experience that can be used across Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams to automatically maybe capture, access, and register the data into your CRM. That means the customer relationship management system. And then we do have Viva Engage, which is a new app right now inside of Microsoft Teams, which is powered by Yammer kind of an services. So it delivers high value employee experience including the community building, leadership engagement, as well as the knowledge sharing. And then we do have a few of the newly added module called as Viva Pulse as well as Viva Amplify. So even I'm exploring more on that. So this is generally what is meant by Viva and what are the useful modules that Viva brings in. So now that let us go ahead and deep dive more into the Microsoft Viva connections, one of the important module in Microsoft Viva. So as I said, it is kind of an curated employee experience because it surfaces the relevant content, for example, news, announcements, communications, and conversations to the employees. So this makes employee experience very much engaging and informative. And it is kind of an very much exciting time to reimagine entire workplace as the digital workplace rather than any kind of a physical workplace that we were experiencing till until today. So this hybrid digital experience is very much people centric, inclusive, as well as flexible. So Viva Connections supports both mobile as well as desktop users. So for example, if your organization is delivering the experiences for the information workers who have access to this access to their machines all the time. At the same time, for example, if your organization is working for the information workers who may be going around maybe to some kind of an um, to some kind of an places and then maybe capturing the information. So Viva Connections has got offering for both of them. So as on the screen you can see that this is the Viva Connections experience for the desktop users, and then onto the right hand side we have the similar kind of an experience for the mobile users, so that the workers they will be able to get the information and they will be able to capture that information using Viva Connections. Okay, so um, if you want to go ahead and set up this Viva connections inside of your organization, then we do have 8-step defined process from Microsoft through which we'll be able to do this. So all of these steps contain um, engagement from various stakeholders, including technical engagement as well as the business oriented engagement. So we will start from preparing the internet in SharePoint. We will then set our home site. We will enable the app bar. We'll create a dashboard. We'll prepare our content, like from where the content should come to this Viva connection. And then we will go into the Teams side of it to add that app inside Microsoft Teams, as well as how we will be able to enable those mobile settings for our users. And then the step number 8 is to make your users aware of this newly launched product called as Viva Connections, and then guide them to go ahead and start using that. So in this session, we are going to go through all those 8 steps, and then we are going to set up this Viva Connections on our own. Okay, so the step number 1 is prepare your modern SharePoint internet. So SharePoint act as a backbone for all of your information architecture that you have got inside of your organization. So you need to prepare your internet by ensuring internet content and the flow of the information is in order. So always a well planned as well as well executed intranet, maybe a hub site or sites. Those are kind of an important elements to ensure that you get best out of the Viva connections. So when you set up Viva connections, global navigation in the SharePoint app bar and navigation onto the SharePoint home site will impact the overall Viva connection experiences. So there are few things that you need to consider while you are enabling the modern SharePoint intranet, that you need to align with your stakeholders to define your top scenarios for the organizations so that they can be supported through Viva connections. Then simply focus onto the task and scenarios that can be easily completed on a mobile device as well as onto the desktop devices. Then organize the Viva connection dashboard around those kind of and key scenarios. And then after you launch your first iteration of Viva connection, keep adding new scenarios based on the feedback and the suggestions from your users. So keep evolving on that. So let us see this three-step process to prepare your modern internet. So first thing is that you should prepare your SharePoint internet. For example, if you're still using classic kind of an SharePoint, maybe move away from that, maybe PNP modernization kind of an tools, and then start your journey towards modern SharePoint. Okay, so with modern SharePoint, you will be able to get the global navigation out of your home site, and then you will be able to set up nicely your Viva connection. The second thing is modernize. So maybe that you might have set up your tenant uh, very much before, maybe before April 2019, when the modern SharePoint was rolled out forcefully into all of the tenants. So in that case, you can still go ahead, use those PNP modernizations or other tools to modernize your sites and pages. So start with bits and bits, and then go towards the entire modern SharePoint site. And then, for example, if your users are located within multiple territories, in that case, consider to enable the multilingual kind of an experience for them. So always start with the default language as the English, and then probably extend from there based on what kind of an user base that you have, and then go ahead with those. All right. So these are few of the things that you need to consider while you are preparing your internet in SharePoint. So consider your information architecture. Go ahead with the flat hierarchy, because in the past we used to create the sites, and below that we used to create subsite. But again, there are flaws in that kind of an architecture if you are still doing that. So always prefer with the flat hierarchies. Go ahead and then connect all those flat hierarchy site collections into a hub sites. And then there is a lookbook templates available from Microsoft at lookbook.microsoft.com. So go ahead and use those templates. And then again, home site is the experience that will help you to create your Viva connections. And then go ahead, start using all of those modern features to make use of best Viva connection experience. All right. So quickly, that was about how we can go ahead and just start having our information into the SharePoint. But the second major part here is the home site. So home site in SharePoint is maybe any kind of a communication site that act as the front door to your organization's internet, and has some kind of a special abilities. For example, if you want to prioritize any of the news posted, or maybe if you want to surface any of the content across the internet, you will be able to do that from a home site. And then when you deploy your Viva connections, your SharePoint home site becomes the landing experience inside Microsoft Teams. So in a simple terms, your home site will be showcased inside Microsoft Teams as a Viva Connections app. So what should be the plan for home site? That if your organization does not have got any home site, go ahead and plan one. And then again, you will be able to set that home site from your SharePoint admin center. One thing to note that to make sure everyone in the organizations has got access to the home site, at least the reader access, so that they will be able to go ahead and start using this experience as a Viva connection. So let us go into the demo and see how from where we'll be able to create home site and how we'll be able to do that. So this is the SharePoint admin center. Firstly, maybe I will go to the active sites. So this is a place from where you will be able to create a site to create any of the home site. So home site is not at all a type of site, but rather it is any of the communication site that can be set as a home site. So when you will go for the site creation experience, there will be just two types of site. First one is the team site, and then we do have a communication site. So maybe start with the communication site and then go ahead and set that particular site as a home site. And then probably I will just also show you the lookbook experience. So if you just go to lookbook.microsoft.com, here we have got various good looking templates available through which you will be able to set up your SharePoint sites in a minutes or even in a seconds of time. So this is the URL to go ahead, lookbook.microsoft.com. Once you go into the see examples kind of a section based on what kind of an sites that you want to create for your organization, department, team, or community, you can choose the template. Again, one tip here is like, for example, if you haven't yet selected your home site, maybe go ahead and create one home site with the landing kind of an experience, because this one has got nicer features through which you will be able to create a home site and then maybe use that home site as a main site for your Viva connections. So if in case you haven't yet decided on your home site, probably go ahead with this template. But again, there are lot many templates to choose from based on what kind of scenarios that you want to target. We do have templates available for all those scenarios. Okay, so once you have got site created, maybe from this part, from the active sites parts, or maybe from the lookbook, in that case, once your site is ready, go into the settings section of the SharePoint Admin Center. And from here, if you notice the home site here, so this is the place from where we'll be able to set any of the site as a home site. So I'll just click on home site, and this is the home site that we were able to set. At this moment, while I'm speaking, there is a limitation that we can only set one site as a home site. But in the roadmap, we do see some good features that maybe by um, quarter of next year, first quarter of next year, we should be able to set at least 10 home sites. So that, for example, if your users are located in multiple territories, we will be able to support them. But at this moment, we do have a limitation that we can currently set only one site as a home site. So if you have set already any of your site as a home site, you will be able to see it here. Again, in that case, if you want to change your home site, you can remove this home site, add any of the other home site here. But one thing to note, that that site should be a communication site. Then and then only you will be able to set that as a home site here. And again, if you change the home site, it might take 10 to 15 minutes to get into the effect. So it is not an immediate effect that you will be able to see, but at least you will have to wait until 10 to 15 minutes for that. So this is a place from where we will be able to go ahead and set the home site, which is our step number 2. So the step number 3 is app bar and global navigation. So this SharePoint app bar allows users to find important content, resources, and even dynamically display the personalized site as well as news and files. Okay, so Viva Connection uses all those elements from the SharePoint app bar and global navigation for the desktop as well as the mobile experiences. So for the mobile experiences, global navigation is very much important. So if your app bar is not yet set up, you will not be able to see the navigation panel in the desktop experience and the global navigation resources in the resources tab of your mobile. So always the home site is required before you can go ahead and enable and customize the SharePoint app bar. So let us see like from where we'll be able to do all those things. So now that we have set this particular site as a home site, what I will do is I will just navigate to that site. So this is the site where this is the home site that we have got. And then on to the left side, for left hand side, if you see, this one is my um, app bar. Okay, so onto the left hand side, we'll be able to see the app bar. Let's say, for example, if I navigate to any of the other sites, so this one is my news site of my organization. In that case, also you will be able to see that this app bar follows me. So no matter to which SharePoint site you are browsing to, but at least you will be able to see that app bar consistently appearing onto your left hand portion. All right. So from here, what can happen is like from where we get this app bar and how to configure this app bar. So again, this app bar has got various elements that we will see in a while. But once you set any of the SharePoint site as your home site, and in that case, once you go into the settings section, there are two things that you will be able to see extra here. The first one is global navigation, and the second thing is manage Viva connections. Okay, so this capability is only available with the home site, and the home site that you can set up through to the step number 2 that we have seen from the Teams admin center. So this is a place from where we'll be able to go ahead and then maybe have our global navigation set. Okay, so let us see how we can set up that. So once you go ahead, click on global navigation. By default, this one will be turned off. So what happens when the global navigation is turned off? So there is a concept called as SharePoint home page. So let's say, for example, right now I go to the portal.office.com, the landing experience of Microsoft 365. And from here, I just locate SharePoint and I browse there. So this is the home page that I get for SharePoint. So for example, if you have not enable the global navigation, by default your first icon here will always point to the SharePoint home page. Okay, as soon as you go ahead and enable that global navigation, that particular navigation will turn into your global navigation that you can define. So how we can define is that firstly we'll be able to go ahead, define our logo. So maybe set any of the organizational logo which is representing your organization or your department, and then you will be able to give the native feeling to your employees. And then secondly, we need to specify the title for our global navigation. So that title will follow along whenever you are going through the global navigation. So in this case, this is the same title that you have set from here. Okay, so the title that you are setting from this menu, you will be able to see that reflected here. Okay, the next thing is the navigation source. So now that when I click that, I'm able to see the home, news and updates resources. So from where all these things are coming is through the navigation that I have set on my home site. So there are two ways in which I will be able to set that navigation. So first one is through the home site navigation, so that it will follow the navigation which I have set on my home site. At the same second time, for example, if you have got a hub site or any kind of a global navigation, also you will be able to turn that on, and then you will be also able to customize that. So based on what kind of an a navigation you want to go ahead, firstly as a first line experience for your users, you can just choose it should be a home site navigation or the hub site navigation. At the same time, you can also edit the navigation. So once you click on edit navigation, by default, this navigation will be the same as the navigation that you have set for your home site or a hub site. But after that, you will also get a chance to add a link or label to that navigation. So as I click between the links or labels here, you can see the plus icon. So once we click that, we get an option to either create that navigation as a link or a label. So let's say we select it as a label. We don't have to specify any HTTP or HTTPS URL address where it should go, because this is just the label. And then we can simply specify the display name in English as a default language. But at the same time, we do have another functionality here called as translations. So let's say, for example, your home site is supporting multiple languages. In that case, you can go ahead, click on translations. So all of the languages which are being supported by your home site, you will be able to define the translation for each of the language. Okay, this one seems to be taking time. Let me just do it one more time. Okay, all right. So once you click on translations, this is the window from where you will be able to define translations for each of the language that is being supported by your home site. So in my case, I'm supporting French, Finnish, and German. So to the navigation that I'm defining here, I can specify the English text, and for my French, Finnish, and German colleagues, I can define that translation. So whenever the employees from those locations will go ahead and then browse the site, they will be able to see the navigation in their own language. Okay, and for example, if you select it as a link, obviously that is kind of an clickable link which can take you to the any of the address within SharePoint, or maybe which is external to SharePoint as well. Again, you can define how you want to have the navigation experience. Should it be open into a new tab or just in the same tab? So this is kind of an experience that you will get. Another thing that we can do with this global navigation or the resources for this Viva connection is the audience targeting. So audience targeting is another concept in SharePoint through which you will be able to target a specific content to a set of people. So those set of people could be your SharePoint group, or it could be a Microsoft 365 group, or it could be any of the DL, or even it could be a security group which is defined into your Azure AD. Okay, so you can go ahead and turn that on. As soon as you turn that on, and then you go ahead for adding any of the link or a label, in that case you will be able to define audiences. So what can happen in that case is the link or label that I will define here will be only seen to the people which I'm mentioning into these audiences block. But again, there is a limitation that I will be only able to specify 10 audiences for this particular link or a label. But again, for example, if you want to give the native feeling to your users, for example, you want to define few of the um, navigation links for department, for example HR admin, you will be able to give that feeling to the users, because the only intention of this Viva connections is to bring the experiences closer to your employees, so that whenever HR person will come, they will be able to see all those links which are relevant to them into the global navigation. All right. Okay, so this was about the global navigation, and then once you enable the global navigation, you will be able to see that experience. Okay, let me just refresh. Somehow it is not responding. Okay, all right. So now that once you click on the home section of it, the global navigation will come out, and then you will be able to browse through the important resources that you have got inside of your organization. And again, this is the same experience your mobile users will get when they will open up the mobile experience, and then they will go to the resources tab inside mobile. There are other parts associated with this app bar, including my sites, news, my files, and my list. So my sites are the sites that you frequently go ahead visit, or the sites that you follow. So from where you can follow the sites is from this star icon. So right now you can see that I'm following this home site, but you can navigate to any of the SharePoint site, and there will be a star at the a ribbon, and then you will be able to follow any of the site. So all of those sites that you follow or you frequently go ahead visit them, you will be able to see them into the my sites. Then again, from where this decision is taken, like which are those frequent sites that you go, or which are those suggested sites. So this experience is delivered through the Microsoft graph kind of an experience. So it is again one kind of an AI layer through which you will be able to see automatically the sites being suggested to you based on what kind of an sites you browse. Okay, similar kind of an experience is delivered when you click on my news. So all of the news which are published onto the SharePoint home site, as well as all of the news that you define onto your news site, you will be able to see all those news inside your My News section. And again, at this moment, we don't have any capability to create this news site from SharePoint UI, or maybe from the SharePoint Admin Center, but there's a PowerShell available through which you will be able to define at least 250 sites, 250 SharePoint sites as the news site. So what can happen with the news site is that all of the news that your authors go ahead define on those news site, they will get shown onto your home site, and then from there it will give the native view to the users, and you will be able to show them some news which are happening across the organization. And again, these are the recommended news. So this news can come from the news sites which are defined from by defined for me from from the organizer, or maybe again the relevant kind of a news which are based on what kind of a news that I follow. Okay, so this is again delivered with Microsoft Graph Experience. Thirdly, we have my files. So this is simply mean by all of the files that I have created, or maybe I have modified, or any one of my colleague has shared with me. So all those sites I will be able to, sorry, files I will be able to see from here. So only intention here is like, let's say for example, I'm working on few of the files on my SharePoint or maybe onto my OneDrive. I will be able to directly go ahead and start using those from my left menu, that is the app bar. So when this kind of an experience is delivered within Microsoft Teams, I don't have to separately go ahead and open SharePoint or OneDrive as a different app, but I will be able to get across all of the work that I'm doing just onto the left hand side, my app bar. Another thing, we have got my list here. So list is again kind of a new um, app which is available in Microsoft 365, through which we'll be able to create a list for a specific scenarios. For example, event itinerary, issue tracker, maybe onboarding kind of a thing. So for example, if you are creating any kind of a list, or if you have modified any of the list, or if you're following any of the list, in that case, all of those lists you will be able to see from here. So this will give your users the experience through which all of the things that they are working on, be it a site, be it a news, file, or maybe any of the list, they will be able to easily go ahead and start browsing that just from the left side, which is the app bar. All right. So that's the reason app bar is a very much important concept whenever it comes to enable the digital employee experience for your users. The step number 4 here is dashboards and card. So this Viva connection dashboards enable you to create curated experience using dashboard cards, which gives access to the most critical content and tools through which employees will be able to maybe create a task, or maybe complete any of the tasks, see like maybe upcoming events which are coming or happening across the organization. Maybe they can see their timesheet, they can carry out their approvals. So all those things they will be able to go ahead and complete using those kind of an adaptive cards. So these cards are designed to enable quick task completion, either by interacting with the card directly or by opening the quick view in the dashboard. So let us see like how we'll be able to create, define that dashboard, and then how we will be able to go ahead and add the cards on the dashboard. Okay, so for that, let me again go into the demo. So when we will set any of the site as the home site in SharePoint, the other section that we will get here in the settings menu is manage Viva connections. Okay, so we just have seen the global navigation. Now that we are exploring the second option, which is manage Viva connections. So once you will click on manage Viva connections, for the first time when you will come here, you will see a button called as create dashboard. Since I already have created a dashboard, now that I can see the option as view dashboard. So I can just click on create dashboard. What it will do is in the site pages, it will create one page called as dashboard.aspx. But again, you can go ahead and rename that experience as well. So in this case, I have renamed my page to my dashboard.aspx, but by default, it will be dashboard.aspx. So this is a page wherein you will be able to create those cards for your users, which will help them to track their task, maybe complete their task, see the upcoming things, maybe see their assigned task, or even complete their work very easily, so that they don't have to navigate to the multiple places to look out for their task or look out for the information that they want to see, but at only one place they will be able to see or capture all that information. So let's say, for example, if I go into the edit mode, here we'll be able to define that dashboard experience for our mobile as well as the desktop users. So this is the mobile experience and then the desktop experience. And let's say, for example, we go into the desktop experience, we click on add a card. Here we have got certain set of cards that we will be able to go ahead and define for our users. So I do have a separate section wherein we will discuss more about this card, but just wanted to quickly show you the place from where we'll be able to go ahead and then define those cards. All right, so I will just discard these changes and let us go back to the home site. Okay, so on the home site, now that we have a separate page called as dashboard.spx, but most of the people they don't like to browse to the specific page and get the information. So for them, what we can do is we can just go ahead, edit the home page of your home site, and then we can add this specific web part called as a dashboard. So once you click on plus icon and search for a dashboard, you should be able to see a web part called as dashboard for Viva Connections. So this dashboard will help you to define what kind of an cards you want to make enable for your users so that they can go ahead and perform their task. Okay. So if in case you don't want to have the separate navigation experience for your users, we do have that web part available through which you will be able to give those cards at the fingertips of all of your users, right? So that was quickly about these dashboards and cards and how we can go ahead set up this dashboard. Cards we will explore a bit later because again I want to cover the SPFx part along with the cards. The step number 5 is prepare your content for the feed because Viva Connections is all about bringing the content closer to your employees. So that content can be in a SharePoint site. So it can be any of the news posts that you define onto the home site, or it could be any of the news posts from your organization sites, or maybe it could be a post that that is from the site that you frequently visit or the site that you follow, or even there is something called as boosted news. So let's say, for example, we do have this home site or this news site. I want to boost this particular news. So as a curator of this particular news, what I can do is I can just click on boost, and then from here I can define until what duration I want to go ahead and boost this news. So all of those boosted news will start appearing onto your my news section. At the same time, even they will start appearing into the feed for Viva Connections. So there is another web part called as a feed for Viva Connections, which will surface all those SharePoint news, and then you will be able to see all those news from here. Okay, so this is a experience that you as a admin can define for your users. Then again, the second source from where the content can come is Yammer, because Yammer is again one of the engaging employee experience, which is kind of an Facebook for your organization, through which most of the conversation will happen over the post and their replies. So all of the posts from your all company community, which is the default community that you see onto the Yammer, you will be able to show all the content from there. So this is the Yammer, and onto the left hand side you will be able to see all of the communities, and everyone who has got the Yammer license, by default he or she will become member of this all company, and all of the conversations that you have got here will also get a chance to surface onto the Viva, and then they will be able to all of your users will be able to see this experience. So by default, every user will be a part of this all company. At the same time, you, based on your preferences or your hobbies or interest, you can go ahead and connect with multiple communities within your organization to get the updates from there as well. So all of these posts from those all company community, or all of the announcements happening on the all company community, maybe any of the featured posts, or maybe any of the posts that you follow the community, all those can appear onto your feed. So let's say, for example, if I again go into the Yammer, and then I will just look out for any of the okay, so let's say, for example, this is the um, conversation that was posted here, and I want probably that to be appear into my feed. So in that case, what I can do as a Yammer admin is I can just click these three dots, go into the feature conversation, and then again I will be able to feature this particular conversation until this date. So what can happen in this case is all this conversation will start appearing for your users into this feed for Viva Connections. So all those feeds can come from SharePoint, Yammer, and the third thing is Stream. But again, this is a stream which is built on SharePoint, not the classic stream. So all of the videos or maybe audios that you are storing onto the stream which is built on SharePoint, you will be also able to surface them onto your feed for Viva connections, through which all of the feeds which employees are interested, they will be able to go ahead and see. So these are three important or major areas from where you will be able to surface the content for your employees in form of feed to your users. All right. Okay, so uh, right now, until this point, we were talking about what kind of an experience we want, from where that experience will come, from where the content will come. But now that we will talk about how we can enable this kind of an experience in Microsoft Teams, okay? Because if you have a look at the Viva connections, so it is nothing but in a simple words, it is surfacing your SharePoint home site inside of Microsoft Teams. So right now we were talking about all those pieces separately. For example, SharePoint, Yammer, Stream, App Bar, Global Navigation separately. Now that we want to combine everything together and give that digital employee experience to our users. So for that, Teams is very much essential. So whenever we want to create that Viva connection experience for our users through Microsoft Teams, we have got three steps through which we will be able to do that. So the step number one is to enable the Viva Connections app into the admin center. So for that, probably let's head to the admin center. So this is the admin center from where we'll be able to go ahead and define the experience. So I will just go to the Teams app and I will click on Manage Apps. So this is a place wherein I will be able to see all of the apps that we have got for our users into the Teams experience. And here, if we just search by something called as Viva, all of the apps which are with Viva, we should be able to see. And one of them is Viva Connections. So once you click on this Viva Connections, by default, this one will be disabled, but you can just use this toggle to make it allowed or make it enable. And then you will miss, this is your first step through which you are at least allowing your organizations to go ahead and use the Viva Connections experience. So that was step number one. Step number two is whenever we will go ahead and enable this experience for our users, obviously we want to give that native feeling or the organizational branding feeling to our employees. So that can be done with this step number two, which is customize. So through which we'll be able to go ahead, customize our app, for example, giving it some kind of a meaningful name and defining the logos, colors, all those kind of thing. All right. And then again, the second thing is like we will be also able to decide the user policies. Okay, so let's go get into that. I'm still into the Viva connections, and now that we want to go ahead and brand this Viva connection based on the user experience that our organization users should be able to see. So I can click on this pencil icon to go ahead and customize this. Or secondly, I can click on this three dots here, go into the actions and click on customize. So here we can define the short name, short description, any kind of an privacy policy URL which you want your user should be aware of, the website URL, terms of use URL, all those things you can define. And then into the appearance section, you can define the icon, which this icon will be visible to your users when they will go ahead and then see the Viva connections as an app into the left rail. And then you can also define those accent colors, which will be the dominant color for your Viva connections experience inside Microsoft Teams. The other thing here now is that now that we are just thinking about going ahead and enabling this experience for everyone, but at the same time, you can combine this experience with something called as an permission policies. So here you can either define some kind of an beta users who can go ahead and test out that Viva connection experience before you go ahead with the global rollout. So in that case, you can go ahead, create or define your own policy, or you can go ahead with the global policy. And here you can define what kind of an Microsoft apps that you want to allow or disallow for the users. So this will give you more control while you roll out your apps to your users without directly going with the big bang kind of an approach. The second thing here is the setup policies. Now that we have enabled all of the users to go ahead and use the Viva connections, but also where that particular Viva Connections experience should be shown to the users. So for that, we can again define any of the setup policy. If you want, you can install this app for each of the users in your organization who are under this global policy by adding that app. And the major section here is this pin app. So through which you can define how you want to pin all of the apps onto the left rail of Microsoft Teams while you define that experience. So here we have got initially you will get all those activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calling files, which is the default left hand side or left rail experience for your users. But at the same time, you can click this add apps, search for your Viva Connections app that you had defined, and then add this onto the left hand side. So all of the apps that you will add here will be shown to your users onto the left hand side. And then using this toggling, you will be able to either move them up or down, or maybe remove it from here. So once you enable this kind of an experience to the user, or once you carry out this entire exercise, this is how your Viva connections will look like. So right now I'm inside Microsoft Teams, and this is the Viva Connections app that I will see onto the left hand side top. So what will happen is that whenever employee will first come to the Microsoft Teams, they will be able to see this experience. So through this, what is happening is like I'm now able to see all of the news, content, all of the resources that I'm mostly interested in at one place. So I don't have to go to multiple places like Yammer, SharePoint, or maybe any of the tasks which are assigned to me, but I will be able to get all the experience in just one window, which is in Microsoft Teams. So that is the beauty of enabling this Teams or this Viva connections inside Microsoft Teams. And then, for example, if you want to go ahead, navigate your resources or the global navigation, again, just click on the Viva Connections app that you have got. And here you will be able to see all of your global navigation. Below that, you will be able to see your My Site, My News, and everything. So now that I don't have to visit multiple places, but the entire experience I will be able to get at one place, which is inside of Microsoft Teams, which is called as Viva Connections Experience. So congratulations, now that we have defined what should be the experience for our employees, and this is how we can go ahead and enable the Viva connection experience for our employees in Microsoft Teams. So now that, also let us have a look at the mobile point of view, what kind of a mobile settings that we do have here. So all of the global navigation that you had defined for your users, you will be able to see that under the resources section. So these are few of the screenshot that I had captured when I open this app on my mobile. So all of the global navigation you will be able to see under the resources section. All of the feeds that you are defining through SharePoint, Yammer, or Stream, all of the videos from Stream probably, you will be able to see all those under the feed section. And then the important section here is the dashboard. So all of the cards that you have created or that you have enabled for your employees, you will be able to see all those cards placed. So for the mobile experiences, there will be just three tabs available to the users on the mobile. Those are dashboard, feed, and resources, which is showing this specific information. So the step number 8 now is mostly for the business kind of an users. Now that we have launched this or we have enabled this Microsoft Viva connection, now that how we can go ahead and enable this experience, or at least make everyone aware of this new experience, and make them aware of this and let them start using this new experience, which is Microsoft Viva connections. So just help make your end users aware of this new resource, and then again maybe provide them with some kind of an guidance on how to go ahead use this kind of an experience. Because still, even if you go ahead, there might be few people who will be still navigating to SharePoint to see the latest news. Maybe they will be still navigating to the Yammer to see the upcoming things, or maybe some kind of an events or some kind of an announcement. But maybe guide them, have the open feedback, created with them so that they can share their feedback. You can improve based on their feedback, and you will be able to create that native experience to your users through which this Viva connections will be successful for your users. All right, so those are the 8 steps through which you can go ahead and then you will be able to enable that experience. So mostly that during our talk, I was talking about curated and tailored kind of an experiences. So let us see like what is mean by that curated and tailored kind of an experience, and what are the responsibilities of admin as well as the content creators in this kind of an experiences. So Viva Connection presents options to create both curated as well as tailored experience for the content creators as well as the content authors. So curated experience can be pushed to the users by site owners or authors. So curated, again, you can maybe relate it as a custom kind of an experience. Okay, so site owners can use maybe audience targeting to target the content to a specific users, and the SharePoint home site, dashboard, and the resources. Those are the example of the curated experience that we have got. And on the other side, we do have tailored experiences. So the content is presented to the users based on the communications or communities or the sites that they follow in SharePoint, Yammer, or maybe any of their membership onto the Yammer or any of the popular content. So feed is the best example of the tailored experience. So again, you can define your content feed that can come through the tailored experience, and at the same time, you as a content owner or a content author, you can also give the curated experience to your users on that content feed. So that's the reason content feed is lying in between those two kind of an experiences, but through which you'll be able to give those experiences to your users by having some control over what kind of an content should be presented to your users. Because the bottom line is like, let's say, for example, on a day-to-day basis, if I see the same content over and over time again, probably on the 3-4 days, maybe I will sustain with that. But as soon as I get the experience that probably I'm seeing the same content on day basis, probably that will degrade your user experience, and then they will not again come back to the Viva connection experience. So that's the reason this curated as well as this tailored experience is very much important for the success of your Viva connections. All right, so now that let us see like what is the anatomy of this dashboard. So dashboard, as we have seen, it is made up of simple, medium, and large size kind of an card. So large size card is equal to 2 times of medium size card. So that can help your users to maybe select the card, click on the buttons on the card. So to just to display some kind of a menu or navigate to the SharePoint page or maybe access any of the app inside Microsoft Teams. All right, so let us see like from where we'll be able to acquire all those cards. So onto the dashboard page, for example, if you go ahead and click on the dashboard page, let me just again go back to the dashboard page that we have got. So I'll just click on this see all. Right now I'm into the SharePoint experience. I will just go ahead, click edit, go into the desktop experience of this dashboard, and I will just click on add a card. So all of the cards here that you can see, most of them are the first party cards which are directly available from Microsoft. Let's say, for example, approvers, assign task, designer cards, and then again, probably this shift, Teams app, Viva Learning, Weblink, Top News. So all those kind of an first party apps which are directly available. So which you can directly go ahead, add, and then you can just configure it based on what kind of an configurations provided by that. Let's say, for example, if I go ahead, click on assign task, this is the first party app available or card available to me. If I go into the edit card, I don't have much options here to specify because obviously it is driven by the experiences of graph through which all of the cards, all of the tasks which are assigned to me, I should be able to see. But only thing that I can define is like whether it should be a large card, which is 2 times of the medium size card, or this should be a medium card. So this experience is very much crucial for the mobile users. So based on what kind of a size, you can fit all those cards on your mobile experience. At the same time, here you can also define the audience targeting for that. And once you set the audience targeting, also you will get a view through which, if you want to see uh, what kind of cards are shown to each targeted audience, even you will be able to see that. So these are the places from where we'll be able to acquire those cards. So there are some first party cards. Then again, we do have a few of the partner solutions available. For example, Workday, ServiceNow, or the others that you can see onto the screen. So they also have their own cards. So you can work with those partners to get their card added to your dashboard so that it will give the simple experience for your users. So let's say, for example, if your organization is using ServiceNow to track the task, maybe all of the ticketing system that you generate. So this kind of a card will just help your users to see all of the tasks which are assigned to them and maybe directly go ahead and see those tasks from there instead of navigating to the ServiceNow as another application. We will be able to see that native experience right within Microsoft Teams. Then we do have got also something called as SharePoint Store. So even from SharePoint Store, you can go ahead and download the apps which are available from the partners, and then you will be able to use that. The other or the last kind of a thing through which we'll be able to create those cards are with SPFx. So you can create those custom or LOB kind of an apps using something called as an SharePoint framework. So these are the four places from where you will be able to go ahead and have the card defined for your employees. All right, then what are the options available for the card implementation? So the no code, that means the first party app, which you can directly click on plus icon, and then you will be able to go ahead and use those directly. For example, approvers, top news, web links, where you will need the minimal configuration to be done and your card is good to go. Second thing is something called as a low code or just a JSON defined kind of an card, which can help you to give some kind of an card designer and you will be able to define that experience. So let us go into one of the experience like that. So here we have got one card which is for the scuba diving. I will just click on preview just to show you how this one looks like. So this is the maybe for our organization, we are planning for a scuba diving kind of an event, and we want our employees to go ahead and register for that. So you can have a card like this for them. Once they click on register, one form will open, and then you will be able to put your name, email address, phone number, and then you can submit, and then you will be able to capture all that information. So again, here this one is the first party card itself, but we have kind of an extended it with the JSON formatting. So let's say, for example, if I go into the edit section of this, here we can define the card size, which is large. We can define the title for it. The major part here is this JSON. So all of the information that you see, once I click on that register, the form that came, that form is coming through this JSON. So you can define your template JSON, you can define your data JSON, and combining those template and data JSON, you will be able to see the form that you will be able to design very quickly for your experience. So if in case you are very much aware of JSON, you are very well versed with that, you can go ahead and create that low code kind of an experience for your users. The third part here, the last part is this custom code that you can create through SPFx. So probably let me just show you the example of that. So this is the card that we had defined with okay, let me just go into preview mode first. So this is the card that we had defined for the public holidays. So public holidays is again kind of an exciting time where miss everyone enjoys the public holidays. So why not to have a card for that kind of an functionality to ensure the employee well-being. Okay, so for that reason, I had created this custom card along with my colleagues so that we can go ahead and then see all those public holidays. So this one is the card which is created with SharePoint framework. So once you click on public holidays, based on the location that is set for you into the Azure AD, you will be able to see all of those um, upcoming holidays, their title, as well as when that holiday is. Let's say, for example, if someone moves to another location, in that case, they can just simply go ahead, change their city or maybe change their location and just click on update. And what can happen now is that it will start showing the holidays from that particular location. So now that, let's say, for example, someone moves to United States, so all of the upcoming holidays for that particular location, they will start appearing for that users. So this is again again another kind of an experience that you can create through something called as an SPFx. So quickly see like what is mean by this SPFx. So right now SPFx doesn't need any special introduction, but SPFx is not just for SharePoint development part, but again we can extend that in Microsoft 365 to create tabs, personal apps, or messaging extension, or meeting apps for Teams, or maybe for SharePoint, including the web parts extension library components, or the dashboard card that we just have seen for the Viva connections, as well as you can also use it for add-ins creation for the Outlook. Okay, so whenever we'll go ahead and create the rich experiences with SPFX, we get three choices. So first one is the basic card template, which will be shown something like this, very minimal basic information. Then we do have got image card template, which can show the image along with some title and description. And then we do have this primary text template, which is more focused onto the content like title, description, and then whatever kind of an information that you want to showcase with that. So if you want to go ahead and then create this kind of an experiences, obviously you can go ahead, install SPFX, and then you will be able to see that. So let me just quickly show you the code for this. So this is nothing but the card view. So card view will be always shown to the user when you will place this card onto the dashboard. And then once you click on any of the button here, this will trigger the action, and the pop-up that comes out, we call it as a quick view. So there can be multiple quick views. Let's say, for example, if I click on update location, here we get another quick view through which we'll be able to go ahead and have some more information shown to the user, give some more flexibility to the user so that they can carry out their task. So this is based on the concept of card view, which is the first view that users see. And based on the actions that we take on the card view or quick view, we'll be able to go ahead and create those multiple card views. So quickly have a look at the code for this. So this is the solution which is running behind that public holidays. So this solution was created with SPFX version 1.15.0. So we here have got one service defined through which we go ahead and store all that information into a SharePoint list, get the information from there to show all of the upcoming holidays. At the same time, we do have a few helper methods here to go ahead and get the user location as well as set the user location, and then again get the listing of all of the upcoming holidays, and everything is written with TypeScript using the PNP.js. Then this is the part which is card view. So card view is the first card that we see onto the dashboard. So this is the card view. So this card view will show us the information about the basic information that we want to present to the user when the card will be placed onto the dashboard. And from here, we can define the actions, what can happen when the button there probably get clicked by the user. So in that case, we go ahead and show the quick views. So as I click on this, we see the quick view, right? So this is the quick view. So this is a code behind for the quick view through which we'll be able to maybe query any of the service that we have got running, and we can get the information. So once we get that information, we can technically store that into a state of that particular quick view, and then this quick view can go ahead and render that entire information for us. And then again, as I said, we will be able to trigger quick views from another quick views, and then we'll be able to build out that experience for our users. Okay, so that was quickly about how we'll be able to do that. Again, with the recent version released with SPFX, for example, with SPFX 1.15.2, we have got more capabilities through which we'll be able to share the geolocation with our users. So let's say, for example, if you're enabling this kind of an experience with your mobile users, or maybe with the frontline workers, so they can go to their site maybe, and then they will be able to share the geolocation of any of the any of the site location or any of the other things that they want to share with the information worker. At the same time, for example, if they see something, they can go ahead, click the photo, and then they can upload that using this media upload kind of in capabilities, and they will be able to share that information in the form of pictures to the information workers. So these are few kind of an advanced capabilities through which we'll be able to build all of the functionalities which are needed for the mobile users so that they can go ahead and have the good conversation with the information workers who are sitting at the office. All right, so I guess that was all, and then we have got few resources through which, if you want to start your journey on Microsoft Viva, or if you want to have the overview of Viva connections, and again, there are good Microsoft Learn modules available which will help you to go ahead learn the Microsoft Viva connections at your own pace. And then again, I do have my own article written on my experience how to go ahead and configure these Viva connections for your Microsoft Teams desktop. And then again, for example, if you want to see how I had developed that that adaptive card extension for Viva connections, again, do check out my blog. All right, so those are few of the helpful resources which can help you get started with your Microsoft Viva journey. And with that, thank you very much for having me here. And then if you have any queries, feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn or Twitter, and happy to have that conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nandip. I think we have one question in the
Is
chat.
it
Yeah, so okay.
okay? Okay, I can see one question. Can we customize the landing page to employee or department specific? For example, if you want to show the sales performance report to regional managers, zonal managers, and head of the. Yes, obviously, we will be able to do that. So let's say, for example, let me just share my screen back. I can show you quickly. All right, hopefully you can see it now. Okay, so now that we have this SharePoint site, let me just close preview. So let's say if you're building that kind of an experience with the card, in that case, you will be able to click on edit card. You can apply that audience targeting so that only your zonal directors or only that particular department should be able to go ahead, see this content. At the same time, this functionality is also available for, um, let me just discard this. Okay, this kind of a functionality is also available onto the web parts as well. So let's say, for example, if I go back to the SharePoint home, if I click on edit, so here, let's say, for example, this is one kind of an weather web part. If you just want to show it to a certain set of users, you can still go ahead and then you will be able to do that. I think this one is a customized one. We don't have it here, but let's say this is the experience. This is the edit web part experience. Again, here you can go ahead and enable the audience targeting, and through that, you will be able to define to which users you want to go ahead and show that information to. So either you can do this way, or the second way, probably, which is not preferable, is that you can create a separate pages for each set of users and give them the specific permissions, because audience targeting doesn't work on search experience. If you have got some content which you are hiding through audience targeting, but that content can still get surfaced to the users with the search experience. Okay, so those are the ways through which you will be able to achieve that. Let me just check if there are any other. Okay, okay, no other questions. All right, okay, thank you. I can also put the resources which I had shared with you so that you can go ahead and then probably have more exploration on that. Right. Oh, I think
Okay.
those are there already. Okay, but all
Yeah.
right. But I hope this session was helpful to you to go ahead, enable this digital employee experience for your users. And if there are any queries, feel free to get in touch with me. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Sanjay.
Thank you, Nandip, so much, and thank you all for joining us today. Yeah, please do share your feedback about today's session. You can see the server link and the event ID, which is displayed on the screen. And this will actually motivate us a lot, your survey. And thank you so much. Have a great evening, all of you.
Yeah, thanks all for joining. See you again. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care.